I think when most couples get married, they really don't have any idea of the grandeur of marriage and what God's up to.
Yeah, I think clueless is the operative word for where I was when I first got married. And I mean, the funny thing is I thought I was mature and discovered shortly thereafter that I was far from mature.
The starry-eyed myth that most couples are dealing with is this myth of romanticism, this myth of I found, I usually say it, the one, you know, I found the one. And that the myth says that if you find the right one, you've accomplished it. The reality is that you can't know the one until you get married, and then you know they're the one because you got married. If you start with that mythological idea, then basically you get married and difficulty happens. Well, if the myth says marry the right one and it's going to be clear sailing, I got married and it wasn't clear sailing, guess what? I must have married the wrong one.
We should never enter into marriage with an open door policy or a mindset that, okay, this may not work. We enter into marriage that says that this is my life for the rest of my life, and this car has no reverse. My marriage has to tell the truth about God. And we don't always think about marriage in that light. We think about loving one another, taking them out to dinner, having great vacations, and all that stuff is wonderful. Sexual interaction, all that stuff is really great. But the truth of the matter is the ultimate purpose of a marriage relationship in human history, frankly, is that my marriage is to reflect and to tell the truth about the God we're related to and whose image we bear.
I think it starts with just recognizing that marriage is more than me. It's not something, it's not a device or an apparatus that God has given us that simply services ourself or simply meets our needs, but it exists for a bigger purpose, a more glorious purpose. And that's where we go back to Ephesians 5, and we're told in Ephesians 5 that it is a profound mystery that actually reflects the reality of Christ's love for the church. And so it's being in marriage with the reality that while what takes place in our marriage each and every day is significant, it's important, that there's something far more significant and important going on. There's a statement, there's a testimony, there's a parable that's playing out that reveals something about God. That marriage is embedded in the culture as a gospel testimony that is always making statements. The only question is whether it's a good statement or a bad one.